The Transformers are back on the big screen. Here we are with Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and here I am with my review for you. Is this a film that has the touch? Is this a film that has the power? Is there more than meets the eye to this movie? Let's find out. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and welcome to my review for what is the 7th live-action Transformers movie. This film here clocks in with quite a short runtime of 2 hours and 7 minutes. Short when compared to a lot of the other Transformers movies. The film is directed by Steven Cable Jr. and written by Joby Harold, Darnell Majaya and Josh Peters. The film stars Anthony Ramos as Noah Diaz and Dominique Fishback as Eleanor Warris. And this film sees these two individuals kept caught up in a battle between the Autobots, the Maximals and the Terracons, all with the looming threat of Unicron coming to destroy the Earth. I'm not going to go into any plot details at this juncture because I'm going to split this review into two parts. I'm going to speak spoilers later on, and I will put up a warning to let you know when that's going to happen so you can switch off and go and see the film. But let's just talk about this film. So like I said, this film is set during the mid-1990s. And we see the coming together of the Autobots and the Maximals to fight against the Terracons and Unicron, who, if you don't know, in the cartoon, Unicron is a planet-eating Transformer. It's a Transformer that is essentially the size of a planet and devours other planets, much like Marvel's Galactus. Yes, and the bad guys in this film, they are essentially the henchmen of Unicron, like Silver Surfer, essentially. Where Silver Surfer became good, we know. Anyway, that's an aside. The film here, did I like it or didn't I? I was looking forward to this film. I really was. You know, and with the opening scene with Unicron, wow, it was like a comic. It was like the cartoon brought to life. It was great. It was great to see. However, the film kind of went downhill from there for me. This film series, it garnered a lot of favour with Bumblebee. Bumblebee was a nice, solid, small film within the Transformers arena. And Hailee Steinfeld went a long way to bringing a lot of emotion, a lot of character, a lot of depth to that movie. And it was fantastic. And this is on the back of the over-bloated Transformer films that came before. Unfortunately, this film here seems to be more of a return to what we had before. Now, not to knock Shia LaBeouf or anything, he had a kinetic energy about him when he was on screen under the direction of Michael Bay. Then we had Marky Mark Wahlberg, who is mentioned in this film, actually. No, Marky Mark is mentioned in this film. A little nod. Again, he was a draw to the Transformers movies, as much as bad as they were, some of them. The two that he was in, especially that last one he was in, it was poor. But he had an on-screen presence. Hailee Steinfeld brought raw emotion, raw character to her role in Bumblebee. And here we have lost it with the human element in this film. The human element doesn't exist. The two actors, not to knock them at their craft, but they're uninteresting, they're uninspired, they're dull. The action sequences, they seem subpar in this to what we've got in previous Transformer installments. I don't know if it's just a sort of a boredom because we've seen it all before. It just doesn't seem fresh. The film doesn't seem fresh. It seems like it's stepped back. It's even using the old Transformers musical score from those previous Transformer films, which I can't knock in the sense that, you know, it had a decent score to it. That being said, was it needed again? I did miss it, but I don't feel that it was generally needed. So honestly, this is a film that I feel made some missteps, doesn't want to be as brave as what it wants to be, and really does lack in the element of the human element. It's not the best in the Transformers franchise. It's kind of like the Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull of the Indy franchise. That's what this feels like. It certainly does. I don't know why. But let's talk about spoilers. Let's get a bit more in depth into the nitty gritty and actually talk proper about this film. Okay, so like I said, Unicron is approaching. We start off the film in the past with another planet with the Maximals. We're on another planet here, so why they look like gorillas, why they look like big cats and birds and this sort of a thing, I have no idea why they've taken the form of animals that live here on Earth. It makes no sense whatsoever. But that aside, we're introduced to the Maximals, and a sacrifice takes place. The Maximals, the surviving ones leave that planet and they head to Earth. Only there's this key, a goober that they need to get hold of, that they're taken with them to protect, and without it, Unicron can't find his way across the universe and all this sort of nonsense. It's like a portal, essentially, across space and time and all this nonsense. So they've settled here on Earth, and they've landed here prior to the normal Transformers landing here, if that makes sense. They're from the Transformers future and the Transformers past. Some nonsense like that. I said it all does sort of work, I suppose, when you actually want to sit down and think about it. We're introduced to Mirage. Mirage in the form of Jazz from the cartoon series. Now, this is the robot I'm talking about, and we're introduced to the main human element, the young young man named Noah. Now, he's trying to look after his brother. His brother's sick, his brother's ill, he ain't got the money to pay for it. He's trying to get jobs, and he gets caught up in a bit of a illegal goings-on where he attempts to steal this car. This car happens to be Mirage in the form of a Porsche, like I said, Jazz from the cartoon films, cartoon series. Right at the point where Optimus Prime puts out a call for all Autobots to come and come together because this Skybeam has been activated. A Skybeam that humans can't see and the robots can see. And this is the thing that calls upon Unicron. We've got a small number of Autobots again, including RC, Bumblebee, this sort of a thing. The robots on the bad side, Scourge and things, again, they look very Megatron-y. They look like there's nothing that really distinguishes them too much. I did like their vehicle modes, but we don't get too much of that. It was a nice addition to see the Maximals, to see Optimus Primal. Now, I was never I never actually watched Beast Wars. It was never something that I got into. I kind of stopped my Transformers with Generation 1 when that ended. So, but it was nice seeing a different array of Transformers. However, for 2 hours and 7 minutes, I'm glad this film wasn't any longer, because I was starting to get antsy with it. In that nothing felt fresh, nothing felt new. I felt like I was treading old ground. I felt like it's lost its touch. The touch has been lost. It hasn't got its power that it once held, even with Mark Wahlberg. I mean, it's not the worst of the Transformer films, but it's not high up as one of the best. Unfortunately, Bumblebee came along, the movie Bumblebee, and it was a fantastic film. It sort of rejuvenated the Transformer franchise. It gave us something different, and all that goodwill that that film gave us has been lost in this one, in that it's taken a step back to doing what the Transformer movies do before. The film can't even live up to its own convictions, in the sense that, yes, we see a death. We get the death of Bumblebee, but we don't. He comes back later on. He's revived by Energon, right, which we knew was going to happen. But then we get the death of Mirage, but then we don't. He's back at the end of the film in an end credits scene. The film is teased to be a crossover with the G.I. Joe movies come the end of this film. I don't really know how I feel about that whatsoever. Some of the effects look nice in this film, but some of the effects, they're not as good as what they think they actually are. The bits where the Transformers are walking through water, some of it looks a bit off. It doesn't look 100% right. And we do get the standard sort of like, here's your just a generic army of robots for you to fight that's cannon fodder stuff at the end. It is a globe-trotting adventure. It does go from city to Peru and places like that, but it just feels empty. It feels soulless. It feels like, you know, I don't know. I wanted to enjoy it and I just couldn't. Soulless, empty movie. The human element, neither of the two human characters were gripping. They didn't grip you. They didn't, you know, as annoying as Shia was, whether you like Marky Mark or not, those characters were interesting. There was something under Michael Bay's direction that made them kinetic, fun to watch. Here you've lost all of this and it's just a by-the-numbers script with uninteresting characters, unfortunately. Anyway, that's all I can say about it. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm sure this film will go on to make some money. Of course it will. But does it deserve it? Does it deserve it? Is it time to put this series to rest? They need to do something fresh with it, and they're not doing that. They're not doing it. They need to step off world, take it off world, take it to, you know, the robots in space. Whatever you've got to do something, get it off of Earth. It just all looks the same, all looks familiar, all looks similar, all very boring. This is AJ. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.